of you, welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Tokwe Market. You know, you also talk to Dr. Tokwe Market.
Yes.
I forget to always give you that affirmation.
I'm a doctor and a published author.
Yes, so doctor and published author, how are you doing?
I'm feeling very well. I don't like going to the hospital. For me, my prayer is that, and I pray it for my customers, pray it for anybody around me. We will work and make this money, but we will not spend our money on health challenges. We will not spend our money on anything aside from flexing, taking care of ourselves, adding value to the world, and promoting kingdom agenda, you know. So anything that does not align with those three doesn't have my money. So I'm very, very reluctant to buy medicine. I'm reluctant to buy any, once it is like hospital bill. I'm sorry to the doctors in the house, but I'm not your customer, in Jesus' name, amen. But in the past few weeks, I just feel like I'm slow. Like I'm not operating at 100%, and I'm like managing and squeezing myself. But yesterday I didn't go out, and I felt like, I should be very strong today. This morning it was not. My nose is dripping. I'm not operating at 100%. Your
body needs a lot of rest.
That is stressor.
Liquid and rest.
I think I need to know what is wrong. You know, because sometimes you just think it is rest, but the rest might be you need B13 or B12 or vitamin D3. So getting tested,
getting tested is important.
I haven't. I have to do it today.
Please.
Hello, Amaka Fresh.
Hi, darling.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Things are looking up?
Yes, they're looking up. Oh, God, you won't kill me. Anyways, today is my niece's birthday. My sister's last daughter, Vava. She turned 2. Yes, so Vava, wishing you all the best. Now I love you. She's so bubbly, and too smart for her age. Yes, and then I also think that parents should not worry about if their kids eat or if their kids take their vegetables or fruits. I was that child that I never used to do all those things. I used to take away my greens and stuff. But now, I'm enjoying the matcha. I'm blending the ugu and drinking it with my food chest. And yesterday, I was sitting on my couch when I came back from work, and I was just sipping, and I was just saying, I'm actually having a good day. And it struck me like, age. Yeah.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Well, you look amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
He's giving what he's meant to give.
Thank you. So I said yesterday was my off day. So I set my goals. I like to achieve my daily goals. And anytime I do, it sort of boosts my self-esteem that, okay, you're getting there. It doesn't necessarily have to be very big goals, but as little as doing my exercises, you know. So yesterday I had set that I was going to do my recordings. I was going to the shop to do a video for the sales that is ongoing. I was going to the gym and one other thing. So by the time I was done with the first 3, going to the gym, I was now arguing myself in the car. Should I go? My body is paining. I can't even lift. They've been giving me weights to carry. I can't even lift my body. Should I go? I see if I don't go, I'll feel bad. I feel that, complete. I struggled, got to the gym, did the work. On my way back, I was knackered. But at least I achieved my goal for yesterday.
I'm so proud of you.
And, I'm happy.
I've been going to the gym since last year.
With your mouth?
My mouth and my mind have been going to the gym. Like, I see myself
you're waiting to get to the body.
I go to the gym. I talk about going to the gym. I drive that T-junction.
Exercising.
I just keep on it right here.
No,
this morning, my husband said, I'm so embarrassed that I exercise every morning. And you are still sleeping. Okay, it's 6 a.m. Yeah, but I've been up since 5. Talk by is so. I'm like,
Meanwhile, because you're looking, you've managed your weight very well.
Yeah,
so you've been able to be disciplined in something. So give yourself
some credit. It doesn't have to be the gym. I'm going to the gym because I have a body goal. I'm working towards 6 packs
for Gary
and everything. When I finish, I will not start being naked on social media.
Forget body goal, but I just never focus. But you're right. We need to just be happy and give ourselves the flowers.
For the ones you've done successfully.
I have actually cut down my input. Okay, let's go on a short break. When we return, we look at the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, thanks for staying with us. We're going to start now with The Nation. NNPCL Dangote Refinery rages over price of petrol. APC lashes Yaga Africa for subjective report on Edo poll. Tinubu rejects bill seeking to extend retirement age of National Assembly workers. Tinubu seeks debt forgiveness for developing nations. As governor, I never backed bandits, says Matawale. EFCC probes Bobrisky's 15 million naira bribery claim. Raising interest rates best way to battle inflation, says Cardoso. And third, judge withdraws from Kanu's trial amid drama. Okay. Let's start with...
I can start with the Central Bank of Nigeria. CBN has reiterated its unwavering commitment to monetary tightening with Governor Laemi Cardoso, stating that the bank will continue its stance until inflation reaches a tolerable level. So speaking at the 297th Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, meeting in Abuja yesterday, Cardoso defied experts' projection that suggested a reduction in the monetary policy rates, that's the MPR, was imminent. So in a surprise move, the MPC announced an increase in the MPR by 50 basis points, raising it from 26.75% to 27.25%. So they went ahead to do their asymmetric corridor, which is around plus 500 minus. That one is a lot of mathematics. However, the bottom line is that the interest rates have increased, and he said it's something that he's not tired of saying, that he's resolute in helping to bring down inflation. That's why this increase is happening. He said we'll use all the tools at our disposal to ensure that happens, and we're not going to spare any effort. He says the bank's success in gradually reducing inflation, but he said the battle is still far from over. So likely we may have, another increment in the interest rate. He said the fact that we are seeing reductions in inflation over the last month and half is encouraging, but we are not out of the woods yet. We really cannot take any chances. He said that this one now is called the moderating inflation, particularly the food inflation, and is a priority for the CBN. And he says they are having conversations with stakeholders to ensure food prices stabilize, while also noting that other external factors are contributing to rising prices. But a lot of people are complaining about this, saying that people who have taken long-term loans may not be able to pay because the interest rates keeps increasing, and this is not going to. A lot of businesses will suffer as a result of this. And I still really haven't seen how the reduction of inflation is affecting the common man. The price of food is still very high.
Well,
and price of other
yesterday
things.
I got a call in Agbara that a pint of tomatoes was selling for 1,500, and the tomato has gone down. They were telling me, right, but this time we start buying.
Oh, amazing.
Because it might go back up. Because somebody said they bought it for 2.5 in that place. I'm thinking, is that true? I need to go to the market myself and find out for sure.
But the essence of banks is to be able to give loans to, to the common man, to be able to,
do their businesses
and stuff. So if they are doing it in such a way that is ridiculous and people can't obtain those loans, then why are the banks there? Why are they? What's their primary goal?
Experts, yes. Breakdown.
Let me take the story of our president. So our president is seeking debt forgiveness for developing countries. Recall, former President Olusegun Obasanjo had sought out a relief for the Paris Club debt that we owed many years ago. So our president also is at UNGA, that's the United Nations Convention against Corruption. He's at the General Assembly, obviously. He's there, and he's called for the recovery of the proceeds of corruption and illicit financial flows from developing countries, and also a cancellation of their debts. The president also called for a collective action against hunger, terrorism, climate change, and other global challenges. He urged world leaders to recommit themselves to multilateralism by deepening relations amongst member nations in line with the principles of inclusivity. If you recall, also our president is the chairman of the heads of state in ECOWAS. And so he was speaking on behalf of the entire ECOWAS group at UNGA. The president addressed the third assembly at the assembly, and I was asking that hopefully we can get some debt. I don't know if they will listen to us. Debt relief. I don't know, because right now our debts before they're doing
if they give you debt release, they would give you many conditions that would make this even more stringent.
I think we're about 90 billion.
And we're still owing,
Yes.
We're still
So
borrowing.
the Minister for State for Defense, Dr. Bello Matawale, has said that he was speaking on channels yesterday, and he spoke about the fact that there are some people that are spreading mischievous stories about him, that he has supported, banditry. And he swore, he said he's the only governor that swore by the Quran that he will never have a second chance, or second grace is the word he used. God should not give him second grace if he had collaborated with bandits. And that the only thing he did was he negotiated with bandits, just like every other governor was doing, listed the other governors at the time that were negotiating, saying that that was a way for them to reduce the costs and reduce the cost of release and ensure that there was release of all the people that were being kidnapped. He said that Zamfara was tackling many criminal elements and there were many criminal activities, and the reason some of those criminals are the ones sponsoring this information about him. Yeah. Because he knows they know he went for them. He also challenged all the people that are accusing him to swear by the Quran that they're not supporting banditry by accusing him because they want to give him a bad name. So he spoke about the fact that there were thousands of individuals who have been released, even some foreign nationals that were released following dialogue with the bandits, and a lot of recovery of weapons that was released because they had dialogue with them. So they shouldn't paint the dialogue he had with bandits as something bad and him sponsoring banditry, but his goal was to ensure that they will release those individuals as soon as possible.
Let's hear from the other side. I always like to say two sides.
Two sides.
Sounds good.
Yes, so I have the controversial allegation story, Bobrisky story. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has ordered an investigation against into the bribery allegations against its officers by Idris Okune, alias Bobrisky. He alleged that some unnamed officers of the EFCC had collected 15 million naira to drop money laundering charges against him, and therefore he only pleaded guilty to the abuse of naira. VeryDarkMan, Martins Vincent Otse, shared the call regarding these allegations, where Bobrisky said that he didn't have to stay in any prison because that on his way to the prison that he had called his godfather. Godfather had called the head of prisons, and then they now got a private apartment for him to stay beside the prisons, and he was told not to come out, that people cannot see him, and that he was charged 9 million naira. 9 to 10 million naira for that, yes. Then also, he also alleged that, Falz, the bad guy, reached out to him through his, and then he spoke to his father, which is a legal thing, because the abuse of naira is a federal offense, so he could plead for pardon, right? So that's the legal aspect to that, which is nothing wrong in that. So he came out earlier than he should have. But to this end, the commission hereby invites both Okune and Otse to make themselves available to the Lagos Division so that investigations can start and to unearth the alleged bribery, because a lot of money is going back and forth. And the commission has said that they are committed to its core values of integrity, courage, and professionalism, and they are going to make everything public.
Okay.
Public. Whether they like it or not, the BRICS is making everything public.
Public, yes, now have brought out their leg.
What has happened?
Okay, moving on to the punch. Subsidy FG may spend 236 billion naira monthly on imported and Dangote petrol. New interest rates may worsen bad loans, says OPS, organized private sector. Kano, court drama as judge steps down. FG explains minimum wage, July 29th back pay. Lagos man jailed 8 years for child molestation. Work begin on federal government's 2025 budget. Ongai, Tinubu seeks debt forgiveness for Nigerians. Edo, APC dismisses poll fraud. Police recover stolen beavers. Banditry, Zamfara. The governor reports defense minister to NSA. Okay, let's take one story for the break. Or we can go on a break. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. I was going to take the human interest story. So the Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Court on Tuesday convicted and sentenced David Charles to 8 years imprisonment for assault and indecent treatment of a 10-year-old girl. The case had started, I think, back in 2021 and had a conclusion this year, that's 2024. So according to the reports, he was, the prosecution said that this man, on April 2017, indecently treated a 10-year-old girl by touching her lap with his manhood and exposing her to pornography. According to the prosecution, the offences committed contravene sections 135 and 170 and punishable under section 172 of the criminal law of Lagos State. So he's been sentenced to 8 years. And I'm happy that we were able to have this to a logical conclusion, because many always think that when things happen, it's swept under the carpet. But I'm happy that in this case, that this man got a conviction and he's gone to 8 years for it.
It was followed through. So the major headline, the federal government may be spending about 236 billion naira monthly to subsidize the premium motor spirits known as petrol that is imported through the NNPCL and the one that's also off-taken from the Dangote Petroleum Refinery. So on Monday, the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, called on the federal government to end fuel subsidies completely. He said the removal will help determine the actual petrol consumption in the country, as his position received backing from the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria and the Center for Promotion of Public Enterprise on Tuesday. So he said the Major Energies Marketers Association of Nigeria had lifted over 50 million litres PMS from Dangote Refinery in the past week. Now, based on revelations by the major oil marketers on the cost of Dangote petrol sold to them by NNPC, the price at which NNPC got the product from Dangote, they said the product was being subsidized by the government through the national oil firm. So they had stated that the product was sold to them by NNPC at 766 to a litre, whereas NNPC had earlier said they got the commodity from Dangote Refinery at 898 naira per litre. So which means that the commodity has been subsidized by 132 naira to a litre, yes, to the marketers. So they are saying now that the government would be spending, that's NNPC will be shouldering a subsidy of about 3.3 billion naira daily. And in 30 days, it will get up to 99 billion to subsidize Dangote's petroleum to the consumers.
That's for the imported one.
No, from the one they're getting from Dangote.
And you know, right now he's refining the imported crude.
Yes,
he's refining.
We're starting the ones with Nigeria. Unless I'm confused.
So
yes,
whether it's the imported crude or the normal crude, they are buying it at 898, and NNPC is selling to them at 700 and something. The 100 on top is being subsidized by government, meaning that subsidy is back.
Okay, we'll get the clarity.
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
Because I'm assuming that this is because of the ones he imported.
Yeah.
The ones he bought in naira
May not be up to that price.
So let us just wait and see and get
what will happen.
Give us a clearer picture on this. But let's go on.
Yeah, so federal government has started the process of the 2025 budget, and the federal government has urged all the ministries, departments, and agencies to focus on projects with economic priorities in the current administration. They are asking that it should also be put into only line items alone. He said the quality of the national budget has been a long-standing concern for majority of people. And he also mentioned that they now did a training, and the training is to break down how the budget for 2025 would go. And he has made the comment against the backdrop of the complaints and the displeasure registered by several Nigerians on the reckless insertion of unaccountable projects outside primary mandate of the government. If you study our budget, you will know that there is no way we are going to deliver good governance, because some products, some items you would see, the price you see in front of it is not enough to do the project. So obviously that price will not go to the project. And some products are just not necessary. We just keep carrying, they keep carrying over projects over and over again and putting amounts in front of it. So I'm happy there's a training that was conducted to plan for the 2025 project. And I hope that a communique will be sent out to everybody that is going to be sending off materials to the project, that these are the only things we are focusing on as a country, so that those are the things that we'll be spending more money on aside recurrent.
Okay, so I have the federal government through the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission has stated that the payment of the new minimum wage will commence from July 2024. The commission stated that this was because that was the date that the president approved the bill after it was passed at the National Assembly. They also, it's also contrary to what the Minister of State for Labour, Nkiru Onyejocha, had said, that the payment would commence from May 1st. But it also means that the government will only have to pay 2 months on arrears. That's if they start paying by the end of October. And this was announced at the approval of the revision of the Consolidated Public Service Salary Structure and other salary structures. So yes, they'll start paying, and then they will pay the 2 months arrears if they start paying by ending of October. I think that's a good one. Let's see how that works.
Okay, we know now to Vanguard. Unemployment up by 5.3% as CBN hikes interest rate to 27.25. Excuse me. Tinubu rejects bill seeking to raise retirement age of the National Assembly staff. 2 million security personnel can't protect over 200 million Nigerians, says Chief of Army Staff. FG welcomes Ombudsman ruling over Daily Trust inaccurate report on Samoa agreement. Deny ties with the banditry by swearing on Quran. Matawali challenges Zamfara Governor, General Guzau. Reaction trail Dangote's call for petrol subsidy removal. Why I can't buy Arsenal again, says Dangote. And inflation, others have tested the society's fabric, says Senate President. Okay, which story?
So I took the Chief of Army Staff, General Tarid Lagbaja, yesterday, said it's unrealistic for 2 million security personnel to protect a population of over 200 million Nigerians. He made this remark during the 2024 Distinguished Personality Lecture in Ilorin, Kwara State. And he said that he was represented by the Chief of Army Training, Sani Mohammed, and highlighted the military's heavy reliance on imported defense equipment due to the country's weak industrial base. So he expressed concerns over the inadequate funding of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN, which he said significantly affecting the military's operational performance. He said in a country of over 200 million people, it's unrealistic to expect security agencies totaling around 2 million, including an army of just over 100,000 active personnel, without a reserve force to secure the entire population. He says, we import over 90% of our military needs, noting that despite some local production efforts, the country's dependence on foreign military supplies remains overwhelming. And we also understand how we use our forex to be able to import some of these equipment. So he says the pursuit of national development alongside national security is a costly endeavor as defense policy is capital intensive. I went ahead to give the history of how it has started. So I think the bottom line is the fact that we need to do more in terms of arms manufacturing in our country. That also, yes, we have boys that do these things now. We catch them, we throw them away.
Not at the level of AK-47.
No, it starts from somewhere. We cannot just be reaching, overreaching. We never reach that level. Now that local one that they use enter house, shoot person, the person die. So what are you looking for?
That's what it takes to work.
Leave war first. Leave war first. We need to start. How many war we don't go?
Arms and everything together.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay, so yes, so the President Bola Tinubu has rejected a bill seeking to raise the retirement age of civil servants working in the National Assembly. As we can recall, this bill was thrown out by the Senate after protracted debate in February. But the same Senate has done a U-turn now and they've brought it back. And the bill is in line, is seeking to increase the retirement age to 65 years or 40 years of service, whichever comes first. And the existing law already says that retirement is 60 years or 35 years of service, or 35 years, yes, of service for retirement. Tinubu, the president, while telling them that he's not going to give assent to this bill, also commended them for drafting the bill, their diligent work and the process of them drafting and passing the bill. But he also prayed that they will receive this decision with love and understanding.
Win some, you lose some. So the Senate President yesterday, during his welcome address at the plenary, was saying that rising economic pressures, high inflation rate, and soaring living costs were eroding the very fabric of our society as Nigerians grapple with the consequences. And he urged his colleagues to particularly ensure that every citizen walk down without fear, and they should just make laws to help better the lives of their citizens. So they resumed plenary yesterday, and he was just giving a goodwill message to his colleagues, asking that they must double up their efforts to ensure people get the law that would help them live better lives.
So drama happened in the court yesterday for the Nnamdi Kanu's drama. And the drama involved the fact that the Nnamdi Kanu like when they say shout out, he shouted his own lawyer to say that the judge should recuse is it?
Recourse.
Yeah, she should step down.
Step down.
That she doesn't
herself.
trust in the court. He doesn't
Process.
believe in the court process. That the court has refused to abide by the ruling of the Supreme Court concerning him, and it was in a really dramatic shouting experience, so much that the judge, Justice Binta Nyako, had to say, I'll step down. I will pass on this case to the chief judge of the court for reassignment to another judge. And his main case was that there was the DSS has refused to obey a court order by the Supreme Court, which is regrettable, and his own lawyer was not in support of this entire drama and was speaking against it, but he was shouting down his own lawyer and shouting to the judge to say that you must step down, I don't trust the court. And so right now, she has stepped down. Okay. So they will assign another judge to it.
They may have to start the case almost all over again.
Yeah. But you can understand it. But you can also understand his frustration, you know, because like this country, we have the judiciary and we're supposed to abide by the rulings. If not, what precedents are we setting as a country? You know, because after this, some other thing might happen. So many other things will happen.
I totally agree,
right? We will go to court.
However, also there's always something called national interest. So really, you're right. The court should obey the ruling, but national interest also can supersede certain things. Where if it's going to be a detriment to our national collective interest, so this is debatable. So you are right on one end, the people on the other end are also right. So we have to just find a middle ground so that we find peace. But there are two sides of that story. Let me see how many minutes we're around the time. That's all we can take on today's newspaper review. When we come back, it's a day for guests. First, bringing our first guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So 27th of September every year is set aside as World Tourism Day. It's a day to foster awareness among the international community of the importance of tourism and its social, cultural, political, and economic value. Join us on the show to commemorate and celebrate this day and see what Lagos is doing is the Honorable Commissioner of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Honorable Toke Benson Awoyinka. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning. How are you?
So we know everybody is gearing up 27th around the world for World Tourism Day. Lagos should not be left out. And I know that there are things you're planning. So let us start first of all, before we come on Friday. Give us in a nutshell what you've been doing in tourism and how you're gearing up for Friday's event.
Well, tourism in Lagos is everyday life. So I have this acronym that I use and I call it Live, Work and Play. That's what Lagos is about. Lagos is a beautiful city, as we all know. Lagos is a thriving city. It's a city where you have everything that you want. But the major hitch there is that the world does not know Lagos. And most of our children, too, don't even know what we have in Lagos and the things that we can do. So in tourism, Mr. Governor, who is very, very passionate about the industry, as you can see and tell, he's been working on a number of projects. One of the things that we did, we've gone to our Badagry slave route. We've gone back to look at it. We're improving that infrastructure and we're completing the point of no return. As you know, a lot of people go to the slave route also in Ghana, and we have visitors who come here. The Diaspora Commission brings in several visitors every year. They want to know their origin, they want to know where they are from, they want to come back here and feel this space. So we're going back in there to make sure that they have a very, very beautiful experience. So on that, we're good, we're set, we're getting ready for the next edition, which would come up in October, November. So we're expecting a group of over 300 people back into Lagos to come and see where they are from. And we hope that they're going to have a very beautiful experience. On the other side, we also, as you all know, launched a film city, which we're supposed to be building also for the creatives. Yes, in Lagos. It's in a place in Ekpe, Ejiri, and it's supposed to hold world-class studios where everybody can plug and play. Wow. And we hope that the entire creative industry will take advantage of the opportunity that the state government is creating. As you also, I'm seeing that our museum is showing on air. It's a beautiful piece. It's an edifice that the world needs to see. That's the Joyrando Center. That the world needs to see. We'll continue to show. We're going to open up before the end of the year. I believe we're going to open it up to the public next month so that we can teach our young ones, our children, their heritage, and they can see everything that they do not know. Because a lot of our children do not know. They don't know our culture, they don't know our heritage, they don't know what we stand for as a people. And the only way we can show it to them is by making sure that the museum comes alive. And they said, most times we get questions, when is the museum opening, when is the museum? The museum is about to be opened now to the public.
Okay, I've definitely been busy. We've seen, you know, so I remember telling my husband, I was like, when you were special advisor, when you were working on the real estate area, it was like you are a real estate developer right from time. And now you came into culture and you just did a switch like, this is what you've been doing all your life. That attests to leadership capacity, and I must applaud that.
Thank you.
While there are a lot of things, activities being planned, what should Lagosians look forward to? Like, what is that event that, or is it multiple events that will be taking place on the 27th to mark the culture?
So I know that quite a number of tourism industry players would be having a lot of events. But on that day, we're going to be partnering with the private sector as well. Okay. Sterling Bank in particular, you know, they're very huge on tourism. Last week, we went around to look at the 1 mile radius of Onikon. Okay. It's a place that is rich in heritage. It's rich in history. It's rich in culture. But we all drive past Onikon, and we don't see what is within that space. So before I answer your question, last week we went on a ride with the MD of Sterling Bank, where he was able to show us his electric cars. And we drove in one of those cars, or several of those cars, and their charging points in Marina as well. But when we left there, we stopped at the National Museum, which also has, it is rich in everything that you want to see from what we have in this country. From there, we went to the John Randall Center. From the John Randall Center, we went to a place called Onikon House. It also is, it has the residual memories of Lagos. The first people who settled in Lagos. So I think it's Loving Lagos. It's called Loving Lagos, but it's Onikon House. From Onikon House, we went to Freedom Park.
Oh yeah,
also
all within.
All within. It's a 10-minute. It's not up to a 10-minute drive. So one stop to the other, and that's not us even going to all the places that you can actually visit. So we hoped that we're going to be able to organize tours or rides within that radius that can show people the rich heritage. On the right-hand side, before you leave, after you leave the museum, there's a race course. People need to know what the race course, the history, and the mindset behind the race course.
And they'll take us around.
Exactly, exactly. So we hope that we're going to get private sector collaborators to do this, because we're not supposed to be doing it. We're government. We're just supposed to create that environment that tour guides can actually get there and tour companies can do it. So we did all of those tours. The reason why we did that was we wanted to show the world and show Nigeria that tourism is not just spoken. Tourism is something within our space. But because we go by it every day, our consciousness is not open to what it is. So on Friday, we're going to be having a beautiful day. Of course, we're going to talk. We're going to speak, but we thought that speaking is not just all we should do. We're going to talk about things affecting the industry. The theme for this year is tourism and peace.
Because I'm seeing some pictures. Where is this?
This is Badagry.
Okay.
That's the slave route. That was when we went on the slave route visit. This is the Agea Tree House. That's the first place where Christianity was preached in Badagry.
Wow. Okay.
And the other place you just saw was a slave market.
Wow.
Where there's a street in Badagry where the trade was done. And so on the entire street was a trade route, slave route, where trading was done. And then that edifice that you saw when you asked was where they do the exchange, the market, where they do the exchange of cowrie shells. They sold human beings for just a mirror, for hair comb, things that seem very, very ridiculous to us now. It was almost trade by barter, and the things were so insignificant. Yes.
So, Auntie Toke, so, you know, Auntie Toke, I've always been in awe of your fashion sense, your hair. You know, I'm obsessed with your hair and the styles. Like, you know, I love it.
Thank you.
Yes, so I'm a food person, and I hope, and I know so many people, in this day of hunger, we like food.
Definitely. There's going to be plenty. Okay, so we're going to have, there's a fair, aside from the talk, which we should do to improve our tourism, it's a fair. Okay. So there are going to be food vendors, there are going to be people who are going to sell wares, things that you would normally see at a fair. Yeah. So it's a day that we're celebrating everything and everybody in the entire value chain of tourism, arts and culture.
Yeah, so let's look beyond just 27th of September for a bit. Some of us travel outside the country, and we know tourism is really big, and that's why a lot of people want to see. You know, when you're going to a country, you want to know where you're going to. You have an inventory, you have a plan.
Yes.
Are we working towards a time where we have like a calendar? We have a plan. We have those places that you must see, those must-see places when you come into Lagos, you know, itemized on the inventory so that anybody who comes in has an access to that, and we can always tell. And even for people who are here who have not been to many of the places you've mentioned and have been in Lagos for many years now, have that inventory so that we know where to go to and then push it. What's the message to the world to come see Lagos?
So, Mariah and I spoke about this a few days ago, and I was telling her some of the things that we'd been working on. We're going to come up with an acronym. I'm not going to divulge now. I'm not going to divulge now because we want to launch it big. I want us to preach tourism, like you say, or like you just said, through every resident of Lagos. When you go to New York, there's I love New York. When you go to London, there's everything about London. When you go to India, there's incredible India. And it's advertised for you to see what India is about. But here, I think our consciousness is just awakening. And so we've been working on a calendar. So we gave ourselves a timeline that we're going to see all the events as they progress and they play out this year, and documenting it. And then next year we come out with a tourism calendar where we can tell you that at the beginning of the year, maybe February, you have the boat regatta. March, you have the food fair. For instance, October, September is when you have the Arts Week and everything about art. So we're documenting everything. Yes, a lot of events are happening this October. I know there's ArtX, there's Art Week. We're coming up also with a beautiful one called Afropolis. It's also going to hold from the 26th to the 3rd of November, 26th of October to the 3rd of November. So we're expecting the whole world, especially Africans, young creatives, to come into this space and enjoy what we have in Lagos.
I'm thinking to myself, all the aspects of tourism in Lagos, because we're thinking only culture and arts, but what else is part of your portfolio? Because sometimes I feel like there's so much more that we see.
Yes, so we have the hospitality industry.
So the hotels are
the hotels, the beaches, and those. I'm trying to contain myself. I'm trying to contain myself. So we have hospitality embedded in this mandate as well. Our beaches are there. Our hotels are there. We want to come up to a stage where once you go on that thing we're working on, I'm still not going to say that thing we're working on. You can click a click of a button, and it's going to tell you all the hotels that you can stay in Lagos, whether it's 3-star, 2-star, 5-star. It's there. The beaches that you can visit. So Lagos has 183 kilometers of shoreline, beach line, beachfront, virgin land. We're hoping that we can get investors in this space to come and see what we have. So I'll tell you of a story of when I went to Maldives. I snuck out of the country while I was working. And I was supposed to go for a real estate event in Dubai. And a girlfriend of mine whose son was turning 30 then was going to the Maldives. And I said to my girlfriend, "Oh, we can just sneak in there for 2 nights." Unfortunately for me, it was 2021. I got into Maldives and I got COVID. And I got COVID. So I was stuck on that island for 14 days.
Oh, wow.
And I would sit in front of the chalet. All we had was a chalet, which is 4 walls, an infinity pool, and water ahead of me, and the rest is palms. So when you go to places like that, that is all you see. In Lagos, the experience is different. From the airport, the bustling city, once you ride through Oshodi, you know that, oh my goodness, yes, I've arrived. The structures, and people are in awe of Lagos because what they see outside of Lagos is not what Lagos is. Really? So we have not been able to sell what we have in Lagos, or what Nigeria is.
You know, just sorry to talk to you. My former CEO, Andrew, when he was telling me that anytime he comes to Nigeria, he tells his driver to drive through Computer Village. You know, usually when you come from the airport, you go through and you say, no. Go
through
the back road. I just want to see all the shops and everybody standing.
The energy in Lagos.
He enjoys that energy.
Yes.
It's amazing what we take for granted.
We take it for granted, really love it. But others love it. And so, so with Maldives, like I was saying, is the palms and the beach. When you come into Lagos, the nightlife is beyond what you can ever think or imagine.
You look like nightlife. Your energy,
I mean, you know, it's incomparable to anything or anywhere else in the world. So we have our nightlife, we have our food.
Correct.
Lagos is filled with correct
different
food.
things.
So there's so many things that you can explore and see in Lagos.
Bobrisky knows now. Bobrisky went to Maldives, she went to Mauritius. Those places look really interesting, but it's just boring. It's just one thing.
Exactly.
But Lagos has a whole lot.
Lagos has a whole lot. So from the minute you land at our airport and you come in contact with our people, we're just a different breed. I mean, we're a different breed. You know, when they say you're a royal priesthood. You know?
So we'll be wrapping up with you soon, but just remind us again. Hopefully, it's free of charge on Friday.
Oh, definitely, it is free of charge. It's at the Muriokola Park. It's on Friday. I think that's the 28th of September. It's a day that is going to be fun-filled with so much for you to do. I think you went there last year. Your local palm wine, 27th. Your local palm wine, your ofada, everything that makes Lagos tick is what you're going to. And we're going to have an Afrobeat artist. I'm not going to mention his name, so we're going to use that to top up the day. So because Lagos is about food, drinks, nightlife, and Afrobeats. And then we then bring in our Nollywood industry. So we're just a combination of everything.
People too.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at us. Look at us. And you know I'm repping
always.
I'm always repping. I have to be my Adire.
Yes. I know. I mean, we hope to really work with you.
Thank you.
Especially because towards, I know there's so much activities still coming up.
So much coming up.
Greater Lagos in December.
Oh my goodness.
There's the boat regatta coming. So many activities. So
Yes.
definitely, we are here to work with you and see how we can help project tourism in Lagos. It's part of what we want to do.
Please do.
The best.
Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to taking the kids to that the point of no return at
Yes, in
Badagry.
Badagry.
As a child.
And it's not as nice.
It's not as nice as
Yes. Have you taken the ride?
No,
because a lot of people in Lagos, we go to Badagry by boat. We have lag ferry. We have from the last one yet. Yes, we do not go to Badagry by road. The road is fantastic. It's been improved. It's a 6-lane road all the way to Badagry. You can get to Badagry from the island in 1 hour. Oh yes.
But we can also go by.
Oh yeah, yes. I mean, if you guys are ready, I'll take you.
So,
but right now, the experience is getting on the waterways and just going through all the villages all the way to Badagry, and that's like a 15-minute ride as well on the water.
I think 2007 when I did the
please, yeah.
Badagry. Yes, I lived there for like 6 months. So I did all the.
It's a beautiful city. Once you get in there, the sleepiness of Badagry comes. You just know that it's time for you to just relax and put everything down.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you,
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ladies.
That's all we can take on this segment. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
staying with us. So, moving on now to our hot topic. There's a story that caught our attention online where a teacher took to her media page to lament how private schools are paying their teachers poorly while charging expensive school fees. According to her, each child is charged way over 250,000 naira, and teachers, unfortunately, are offered a sum of 50,000 naira. Now, many have come on social media to express their own experiences of such behaviors from their children's schools. Some have said, why do private schools pay their teachers poorly despite charging expensive school fees? Others have said that the running costs of private schools cannot be compared to that of public schools. So obviously, you can't expect to be paid the certain amounts of money. What are your own thoughts? Because many parents can almost relate to this, especially if you're a teacher in Nigeria. You can probably relate to this, working in a private school, expecting to get much more, but unfortunately not getting as much as you expect. You can call us on 080-1076-1679, 090-24163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read the tweets. Let me start with the teacher amongst us. Since you have experience in this area, have you ever been in this area where you're lamenting?
Yes, of course. I remember my very first salary as a teacher was 50-something thousand naira.
That's high. That was many years ago.
You have an idea how much this school was making? It was a big school. I started from an international school. And, you know, we always had this complaint that we're poorly paid. But fortunately for us in that school was the welfare package was, aside from the salary, there was a way they were keeping our money to pay us quarterly. Okay. So it comes in lump sum, so you're able to do something meaningful with it. Yeah, I was given accommodation, you know, I was given lunch, you know, because of that kind of school. So when I look at my pay and I look at all the benefits and the fact that if my child is in the school, I just pay 25% tuition, those are some of the perks that kept us. Okay. So for schools that do not have the leverage to have some of these extra perks for the teachers and they're paying as low as that, I think it needs to be revisited. I've never seen a teacher who came home smiling at the end of every paycheck because we always felt that we're underpaid for the sort of work that you were doing. For you to become a medical doctor, you pass through a teacher. For you to become a lawyer today, you pass through a teacher. An engineer, you pass through a teacher. So that profession should be given more in terms of making them really happy to teach. I knew in the university a lot of people who were naturally gifted to teach, but they didn't want to teach because of the pay. They felt, how would I build my life if I graduate from school and I'm going as a teacher? I won't be able to make money. I won't be able to have at least the basics that I would want to have at that stage. And so it seems really, it just seems like it's getting worse as we're getting older. It's supposed to be getting better. But as a business person also, because then when we're having the conversations of, our pay as teachers, we also started hearing things like, it's a business. We have running costs. The children pay, you're calculating the amount they're paying, but it's not monthly they pay per term. And then we have to fix the classrooms, we have to do this, we have to do that. At the end of the day, we cannot pay you this amount or else we'll be running at a loss.
Oh, it's two sides.
It's just two sides.
Let me come to you. Because there's no profession that doesn't deserve better pay. Teachers like to defend that. Oh, I'm the one that teaches the doctor. Doctor too heals you. Doctor without...
Who teach and wait they heal?
But
let's start from the foundation.
If you're not healthy, you can't stand up in class to teach in the first. So there's a particular doctor that heals you. So everybody also is very relevant in this puzzle. But let me come to you. What are your thoughts on teachers complaining, especially for private schools?
I think private schools are struggling. I think the teachers, and it happens to all staff versus the management. Most staff look at the management and just feel like they are enjoying life. We are working for them. Monkey is working, baboon is chopping. It costs up. Even that teaching, even in a media house like this, even in every other business, if you do not decide to wear the shoe of a CEO or a management staff, you feel like they have it easy, they are enjoying, but we are working to help them enjoy. I think it's important that we create a modulated payment structure. We will never pay like cost reflective. Let me use the language of NERC and
Cost
our
reflective
holding.
value.
Cost effective value for the efforts and the cost of living. It will never happen. And that's why NLC is shouting, labor cannot be living off 70,000 naira minimum wage when the government are flying around the world. How would they? There will always be that disparity. But if we can create a cost reflective where I am able to, when my efforts increases the outcome of the organization, I get compensation.
Okay.
Most schools don't have that kind of structure. We don't have a structure that if the performance of your students improve, if you are able to, because I met an educationist that lives in the UK and has also worked in the US, breaking down how she's an accounting person, that the system rewards her for putting more children in school.
Yeah, I
so
heard that.
if I have 500 children in school, and I sustain 500 children and I increase to 550 by next year, I get more money allocated to me from the government, or I get more money allocated to me to be able to do more. But if I lose 50 students, then I will get a slash in my revenue. So everybody understands that we must ensure our
Extra
children are learning,
incentives.
because if my children drop out from school, my salary is impacted. If my children are doing well in school, my salary is impacted. I get bonuses. If that incentive is there, everybody will know what they are working towards. Some people work in companies that their salary isn't much, but they know that when the bonus comes,
it's
the
bemo.
bonus is bemo. I can sort many major life issues with the bonus because I am achieving set goals. But
really like
what
it.
we have in salary structure in Nigeria, in most companies,
Aside from
is
that,
just
even the
flat.
workers, you see, many workers, unfortunately, from when you're talking to entrepreneurs, they like to just do the minimum.
Yes.
Nobody wants to do this one of KPI.
There's no
do this
incentive
one.
to
They're
do
not
what,
even interested. Sometimes give them the incentive. They are just just let me come to work, write on the blackboard,
my thing and
do my
go.
thing and
Mark
go. I'm
register.
okay. Let me just mark register, because many
I
of us
showed up.
we do a lot of other things. So even that incentive, because I know some people who have put incentives in place, but unfortunately nobody is using those incentives because they rather just do the basic minimum. You want to be paid 250,000 naira for
To show up.
to show up just because I'm showing up as a teacher. That in itself, that's another angle. Doesn't mean that what you're saying is not valid.
Yeah.
But let me come to you, Maka, your thoughts on this.
So I don't know, have you ever met a disgruntled teacher before? Yes. So just imagine a disgruntled teacher teaching your child. That's the problem. If body is biting somebody now, they can't impact. That's it. Do you understand? One, so let's get it from that angle. And then let's also look at it from the angle that teachers do more. They do a lot. Your kids spend how many hours in school
With them.
every day with them? So they're not just teachers, they're also free psychologists.
Yes, so.
Because you find out that, first of all, they're looking at the kids to make sure that this child is not being abused, this child is not having mood swings, this child is not going through the phase of adolescence and needs so special coaching or to be talked to. Like, this child, these kids are at the phase where they are beginning to have crushes, and the teachers are not just coming to teach curriculum. They are doing so much more.
True.
Yes, the burden is on them. The kids have to trust them to be able to open up to them. A lot is going on. They are seeing everything. So I believe that they deserve to be
paid
treated
well.
more.
But Maka,
Yeah.
have you ever met a disgruntled nurse too?
There
Think
are
of your
plenty of
father.
them.
Have you ever met a disgruntled? I mean, it's on all layers. Everybody can tell
Can
you.
be disgruntled.
Can be disgruntled. And when at my service, and when I'm disgruntled, it's different. So we can
You
play
know,
that card.
when she was just saying this thing about being disgruntled, we all know that teachers, and even BC had mentioned it before, teachers are not necessarily, salaries are just one part. But when you teach in a big school, there are
Other
perks
perks,
that
yes.
come with being in a big school. You don't go empty. At least every term, there are always things that,
Yes.
as a parent,
Plenty.
you must take care of your children, your
Yes.
teachers. So these things, they don't get it in other places. And some schools, what they get is serious.
Yeah.
I've gone to my school at the end of the school year, and I see the way the teachers are carrying things to the car,
To the
come
car,
back
yeah.
to car,
Telling
making
you.
multiple trips, taking to the car.
There was one somebody gave me one fantastic
box
gift.
full. Wow.
Fantastic gift. Well, because I already have it in the house. I didn't mind just keeping the two, just because it's fantastic. But some just said,
Give it to
Let me just
your-
give it to the teacher. Yeah.
the penny was sacrificial. But I gave it because I know that she would appreciate it. So you're right, they get gifts. But there's another part we've not talked about.
Okay.
Because there's also capital expenditure on the part of the school owners.
Yes.
Because if your school doesn't look a certain way, people will not come.
Yeah.
All you see, you can't just have a building and just put the regular facilities. You have to put in air conditioners, you have to service them, your school have the aesthetics must be right. If not, those people who are paying 250,000 will not pay. They'll rather go to a school that looks like this, they look abroad. You know how the schools are put on, even the post boards, the painting in the classroom, the classrooms, the various things you do, just to the chairs, the kinds of desks you have. These are the various things you must spend on to make the school look approachable for your target audience.
Very important, but the quality of the teachers is still what will give the end result at the end of the day. Exactly. It's the learning outcomes for the children. So no matter how beautiful a school is, if you do not have quality teachers to handle the children, you are not doing anything as far as I'm concerned. The children will not be able to learn. The teachers who you have there who have not even mastered their own emotions will not be able to really give their best, because like you rightly said, being in the classroom is not like attending to one patient or the other. It's different. You have maybe, for instance, you have about 30 pupils in your class. You're supposed to observe those 30 children while you're teaching. You're supposed to write reports on those 30 children at the same time. You're supposed to, it's so bad that some parents leave their own primary responsibility to the teachers. So I started with nursery school, for instance, and we have parents who just drop their children. They never even dress speaking well. They never even brush up. They never comb hair. They just come and dump that child early in the morning, and then they are rushing to work. You as a teacher will not allow that child stay in that class without taking proper care. So you do beyond just 2 plus 2 on the board and 3 plus 3. No. I'm saying, what I'm saying is...
The job description of teachers is beyond 2 plus 2.
I know.
It's part of your job.
I know.
That's what you're being paid for.
I know, yes.
Look at the welfare.
And to get quality, because we're dealing with the lives of children
it's
here.
Your job now.
We're saying the same thing. If you pay me well, I will deliver.
No, I don't have to pay you well. I should pay you well. But I'm saying,
of course, I should be trained. Yes. To do that
job. Your job.
Yes.
So it is your job. Yes, you should be compensated.
But you agreed. For you to attract people like me for that job, there must be something that brings us there. So else, I will choose another one.
Accepted 50,000 naira. But because you see that we're increasing your school fees, now you're saying, no, this 50,000 naira you must increase it to 100,000 naira. I'm thinking, okay, how? Let me come to you.
So supposing, like, I decide that I'm looking for work as a teacher, and I take 50,000 from this nice school that I know that the parents can afford to pay a lot of money, and I begin to exploit these kids and start collecting extra money for marks. So you find out that if you're not also teaching taking care of your teachers, you start breeding an environment where corruption. But most times you don't even know. You won't know on time. Lots of things go wrong because they just feel like that. They start being transacted. No, you have to. These are the things that actually happen.
I agree with you. But this is that corruption everywhere.
Regardless of how well you are paid, people get well paid and they still are corrupt. There's financial
I have to pause you. I'm sorry, this person I've been holding for a while. I'll come back to you, please. Felix from Ikorodu, you're live.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I think one of the major issues we are having, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so for me, because I've been a teacher for quite some time now, I think one of the major issues we are having is the government is failing to regulate or to look into those that are establishing schools in Nigeria. For example, many of them, the major thing they are aiming at is making profit immediately they establish school. And so as a result of that, many of them, they cut short the salary of teachers. I can tell you in Ikorodu, it is that bad that we have teachers that are earning as low as 20,000 naira and will work for money till 4 p.m. 20,000, 25,000. Many of these proprietors or proprietors, so to speak, they are not. How will I put it now?
They're not sincere.
To take care of their staff is not even their priority. Their priority is just to make money.
Yeah.
I can tell you that we have people in this country, in Kodo, we have doctors, we have people that are not even in teaching line. They are establishing schools because they want people to make money. And as a result of that, who are the people that will suffer for it? It is the teachers.
You're absolutely correct. Thank you, Felix. You're absolutely correct. So he's taking us now to the reality. We've been speaking based on the private schools that we know, but there are some private schools, like what he just said, that are really poorly paying their teachers and don't care about the quality of the education.
No, they don't care.
Just show up, do the basics, I'll pay you and go. I'm collecting as much money I can. I'm extorting the parents to get as much money as possible. So there is that category, and they do exist, and we must not
Plenty of them.
So, I was going to say, before his valid points came in, I was going to talk about having financial compensation and non-financial compensation. The school BC mentioned earlier had a structure of financial compensation and non-financial compensation. For you to attract talent, it cannot be financial compensation alone. You need to be able to make celebrating them, non-financial compensation, school boss speaking. I mean, the teachers have a staff boss.
Yeah.
Some schools have dedicated staff quarters to make life convenient for them, for the teachers themselves, and appreciate them that we might not be paying you what you could earn if you were a banker or what you could earn if you were taking this, your talent and gift, and putting it in another industry. But we are going to ensure that you get enough achievement and celebration as a teacher. Those conversations needs to be had enough. Because when we talk about compensation, we're always thinking financial, and the owner of the business is looking at how can I consistently pay salaries? Because it's not just about saying I want to pay you 250,000 naira. It is that can I pay the 250K every month consistently throughout the year? And the answer is sometimes no. It might be good enough for me to pay you now. There are private schools I've heard who are complaining online that Japa is happening to them, and parents don't explain when they are going to Japa. You just show up in school one day and you see that you are resuming school and 50% of your class has gone. Yeah. And nobody told you they were going to go. They have jackpot. So you are now having to pay salary without a full class, and you are struggling to feel. We don't wear the shoes of the CEO. We just assume they are living large. When diesel price went up, many of them had to struggle on how to continue to power their schools and still pay salaries despite the fact that revenue was completely eroded. In that same vein, petrol prices went up as well. So we're dealing with, when we want to talk, we find it easy to just say they are making a lot of profits and they are not paying the students. Yeah. But many schools will tell you the struggle of, yes, there is profit, but sometimes something cannot just take that entire profit away as well, and expenses are happening. So yes, we need more regulation. We need the regulation so that there is no exploitation. Yes. We have NLC protecting civil servants, but we do not have enough labor laws or
protecting the laborers.
We even have private school associations
for the owners, not for teachers.
For the owners.
Yes, we should have union for teachers.
So I think they should have like a base. In public service, we say minimum wage, base for any graduate teacher that's coming in. So if you're a graduate, you're coming in with a graduate in BSc or something in education, you have that base. You're coming in as a polytechnic person, you have that base. You're coming in as a college of education, yes, you have that base. So that from that base, then different schools can now pick, do we pay a little above? Do we pay a little, not less, not less at all? Because what I see is, so I have a close relative of mine who is currently a teacher. And she's been in that school for over 4 years now, still on one salary. My salesperson earns more than her. So the last time I was having a conversation, I said, they never still move this money. And she said, no, that's what they're still paying her. And I'm like, so it's better that you pack up this teaching and come to my shop, because I will pay you more than this. And this woman is talented, she's gifted, she handles special needs children. So it's a skill that anywhere in the world, they will be rushing her because a few people get into that. So if we have that base, it sort of helps. No, listen now, calm down.
And I hear you. It sort of... You made the point on the base.
Okay.
Let me tell you the problem with that base.
Okay.
If government or whoever says, this is the baseline, right? Don't go below this.
Yeah.
You know, these same Nigerians will go and beg Mr. John, please, don't worry. Baseline is 70,000.
Just pay
me 40,000. I will take the job. Pay me 40,000. I just need this job. And they will take it.
Yeah, but you will not come outside to complain.
No, they will complain. How would you know that they are getting that job? The woman who is complaining now, how do you know?
She did not beg for the job.
Please just give me this job. I'll take it. So the point is that we, as a people, again, we have to collectively agree on
decide. True.
And they get paid. Sorry, they get paid even during the holidays, right? And that's like 1 month. So even so, that means the owners of the school have to still pay salaries.
Yes, during holidays you get paid.
We have to wrap up on this, but I think we definitely understand the perspective of the teacher. We also see the perspective of the entrepreneur, and we just hope that there will be maybe some regulation to help,
ensure there's no exploitation.
Make it more that there's no exploitation on the part of the teachers. I think that's the best we can do on this topic. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, move on to our next topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
thanks for staying with us. So there was this video that was trending. I don't know if you guys saw it. Allegedly, we don't even know how true it is because there was no backstory. But the allegation or the story that came with the video was that a Nigerian young man was beating up his father and his father's friend because they were trying to correct him. And he beat up his father. And we saw blood coming out of one of the men. We're not sure which one is the father. And one was punched several times on the floor. And my head kept palpitating, like, what in the world is this? I mean, we hear of parents getting, of children getting their parents arrested or abroad, but actually beating up your parents, that's almost a first for me. I mean, we hear it, but we don't know how bad it is. Now, because we don't have the backstory, we don't really know what happened, but let's just talk on the face value of the video we saw. If indeed that was a child beating up the father, how do you think a father can either reconcile or should he just say, Uncle, bye-bye? But how does it even fix? How do they move forward from that incident, do you think?
No, they can recover. Everything in life you can recover from. You can remedy every challenge. You can go through counseling. You can, if the fact that if a father, there's nothing new under the sun. Parents have been beaten by their children. We just pray that it never gets close to home. And we do all we can to ensure that we raise our children in a way that they can never raise their hands to beat up their parents. But we don't know the entirety of the story. That in most cases, people do things under the influence, a whole lot. And under the influence means that maybe they've abused some form of drug or the other, or even alcohol. And in that space, is not rational conversation happening. We are looking at this like it happened in America. It has happened here in Nigeria. There was a video that went viral too of a boy beating up his mom. And we saw it here. It was here, but it was under the influence. They confirmed it was under the influence of drug or the other. Violence doesn't solve anything. I believe that in most cases, what would have been done? Let's arrest him or let's deal with him. But it's in actual fact, it needs psychiatric help. For a person to resort to physical violence to hurt anybody already shows there's a problem. If you now resort to physically harming someone older than you, there is a bigger problem. So the conversation
is not your parents.
It's not your person that born you. Then we know it is that there is a big issue.
Because we have a short time, I really want us to hop on moving forward because we've all seen that video.
Yeah. So this is abomination, taboo. It cannot be remedied, as far as I'm concerned. That's my own perspective. Spiritually, you've just laid a curse on yourself. No matter the backstory, no matter what has led you to that point where you had to raise your hand on your parents, your father, who is your priesthood, who is supposed to stand in the gap to pray for you, for your future. You lay your hands. Whether you're under the influence of spirits, you're under the influence of drugs, you're under the influence of anything, we don't care. This is absolutely wrong. Now, going forward, the conversation will be, I don't know how rooted they are in African culture, because they were speaking asopre there. Going back to how these things are resolved in our day or in our own culture is that there are some rights that you have to fulfill. There are some sacrifices that you have to make for you to even step back into that home or into your father's compound again. There are certain things you must do spiritually, spiritual cleansing, that just because you have gone beyond, you know, like when they say somebody has eaten the forbidden fruits. This is you eating the forbidden fruits. And no matter what it is that your parents, if they did not train you, they did not send you to school, they did not do anything for you, they even beat you and all of that, no matter the gravity of what they've done, is to have a conversation with people who could speak to them and not use your hands on them. So this one is back to the village conversation they are going to have. Let me just pause here so that Amaka can continue.
Okay, you talk this one.
Now me, when I saw that video, I cringed.
So, aside for the fact that, you know, we must honor our parents. That's what the Bible says. We're from African cultures. So as a lawyer, so I'm going to look at this from the perspective of psychology, logic, and then from the criminal aspect of motive, right? And, you know, as a lawyer, I always need to take myself out of a particular situation and look at why. And look at the why. Most times we look at things on face value, we never look at the why. Because you need to understand if this child was not under any influence at all, what provoked that child, the why that you hit and keep hitting your parents to bring up blood. Recently, like I was telling a BC at the change makeup room that recently I've been watching lots of documentaries, real life documentaries, right? And that currently I watched one yesterday where it's called Monsters, where two boys killed their parents, right? And everybody was looking at just looking at it from the peripheral. But they were suffering abuse from the age of 6 all their lives, and these were not adults. They were 18 years, 20-something. So imagine suffering that abuse from your father, and then you live under fear all your life, and then they now got pushed to that point. So sometimes we need to look at the why, especially especially we've gone through the fact that we've checked that the child is not under any influence, or the child is not just one sport child. Something must have happened to provoke a child that is well brought up. We're Nigerians, we're Africans. Regardless of where we live in the world, there is that cultural value I want to believe that we have that's inculcated in us, right? So when a child is
themselves in a bad group where they started hanging out with bad people and started smoking some things, and then they come home and they beat everybody that is available. In those cases, alo emego here,
of course.
That is the taboo that we're talking about. Now, if there's an underlying heavy cause behind what has happened, that's when by the time we now go to Umonna, we now start investigating, and then we now start asking questions. So that's where you now limit the consequences and the sacrifices, because you now know that you have grieved. Even the scripture says, do not grieve your children. You have grieved the child to this point. But there are some badly behaved children, which we know, that once they cross over to that place, we have lost them. And you see parents tiptoeing around those children because we don't want the child to shout back at me. You don't want the child to say this. It could also be one of the reasons that this has happened.
Unfortunately, we have to cut off this conversation.
Oh, wow.
Because our guest who we didn't have before, I'm told that he's around now. So we have to cut the conversation. But it's an interesting conversation to have, and we can continue it at a later date. But we have to go on a very short break and bring in our guest who is supposed to come and discuss what's going on in the Ministry of Steel. Good morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So the federal government signed an MOU, that's a Memorandum of Understanding, with the original builders of the Ajao steel plant and the members of their consortium. We have with us now the Honorable Minister himself, who will be giving us an insight exactly to what this MOU is about. Because as far as we all know, all we hear about steel in Nigeria is Ajao. But what does it even entail? What is it about? Speaking right now is the Minister of Steel and Development, Mr. Shoaibu Audu. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much for hosting me this morning.
Tell us about this MOU you have re-signed with the original owners and builders of Ajao Steel, not owners, builders. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and well done on your show. I watch the show regularly. I think you ladies are doing an excellent job on the show, Your View, and I'm glad to join you this morning.
Thank you, sir.
I think MOU that we signed a few days ago is a massive day for Nigeria, and this is what the Renewed Hope administration Renewed Hope government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, is all about. For the last 45 years that Ajao steel plant and the National Iron Ore Mining Company was built, since it was built, it has pretty much been comatose. Several attempts were made in the past to try to revive Ajao, but they all failed, unfortunately. This is the first time that the administration has shown political will in a very sincere manner to try to get the steel industry back on track. And Mr. President has taken a number of decisive steps, one of which is the creation of the Ministry of Steel Development in August 2023, with a clear mandate to do two things. One is to revive the entire steel industry, and two is to revive Ajaokuta as well as the mining company. What we've done by bringing back the original bill, that is a massive step for Nigeria and Nigerians. Basically, the original builders of the steel plant understand all the issues. They know where the dead bodies are buried, so to speak, or figuratively speaking. So it's easier to bring them on board to determine what all the issues are to enable us to resolve the problem very quickly and decisively. And Mr. President is very happy with that direction. A number of things that we did at our recent trip. One was we got the Russian consortium to come into Nigeria. A 23-man team came in August to do a preliminary inspection of both Ajaokuta and Nyonko to take a good cursory look at the steel plants and the ore mines to make a determination what can be done very quickly in the near term, medium term, and long term, i.e. phase 1, phase 2, all the way to phase 4, which was the context of the MOU that was signed. Following which we traveled, I led a delegation of the Nigerian team, including my permanent secretary, the Nigerian ambassador to Russia, or the charged the affair to the Russian Federation. Nigeria to Russia Federation was with us on the trip, as well as senior members and executive of the Ministry of Steel Development. We met with a delegation, a Russian delegation led by the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Mr. Alexei Gruzdev, and their commitment to helping us to revive the steel plant very quickly.
Honorable Minister, we actually, because of time, I would like you to, when people just hear MOU and feel like Nigerians, these people have come again, they've got to go and sign MOU. When should Nigerians be expecting the impact of this MOU? When do you foresee maybe we would start having Ajaokuta up and running, we'll start having our homemade steel and more jobs to come from all the adjoining companies affiliated with Ajaokuta?
The Ajaokuta problem has been on, as you know, for more than 40 years. So, it's not a quick fix, but, we're going to put some things in place, and we've already put some things in place that would enable the plant to be back on track as quickly as possible. The plan is over the next 4 phases before the end of the first term of this administration, in the next few months to a year, as we go towards 2027, we will start to see iron rods come out of, the light section mill. The wire rod mill will be revived. We'll also look at other various mills and production units, including the, medium structural mill, the lime calcination plant, the engineering workshop, the oxygen plant, so many of the various production units that can be revived. We're also trying to achieve certain things. Maybe I would say 3 or 4 things. One is, the first of which we've done, is to sign an MOU to have a blueprint. 2 is, we're also working with one of the top 4 leading consulting companies to be able to have a roadmap for the revival of both the steel industry as well as the Ajaokuta steel plant and Nyonko, which would dovetail into what we're doing. Thirdly, we're also having good conversations and advanced conversations with the Ministry of Defense to be able to do something similar to what we've done on Ajaokuta, to get an MOU in place to be able to build military hardwares and to set up a military industrial complex, subject to Mr. President's approval. Fourthly, is to also enact some regulations that would enable us to provide some rules and guidelines in the industry for both government players and private sector players, whether it's the Metallurgical Industry Bill or the Metallurgical Training Institute.
We have to wrap up now. Unfortunately,
a number of those measures. And the last thing I'll mention is that if you look at what we are doing with the industrial park, we want to set up an industrial park that will have a CNG park, compressed natural gas park, as well as a free trade zone. If you look at some of those companies that will come there, manufacturing companies, which could be in the hundreds, if you look at the ancillary job benefits, direct and indirect, together with
Honorable Minister, we've run out of time. We've heard a lot of we hope to do. We have conversations. We are talking.
Well, at least
they are very futuristic, and I'm hoping that once it is finally cooked, we'll bring you back on the show to tell us, okay, we've created X amount of jobs. This industrial park is already functional. We've gotten this amount of people trained, XYZ, because Nigerians have heard of the MOU, as you have said earlier. So we'll be really happy to bring you back. But thank you very much for at least letting us know that Ajao still is definitely going to be very back to life very soon, especially because with this new MOU signed. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. We hope to have you back soon, sir. All right, that's all we can take on today's show. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.